Welcome back to another episode of Tyranny. Before we leave this place, there's a few more things we should do. There's a couple stars we gotta go visit. People we should talk to. We should also talk to our companion. So there's a little icon right here that says they want to talk to us.
Need to talk? I suppose I can give you a moment of my time. What do you need?
Are you a spy for the Voices of Narat? Verse regards you with an unreadable expression. Her mismatched eyes look at each of yours in turn. Insufficient reputation. I mean, does it even matter? You have to decide for yourself whether or not I'm worth trusting. Is keeping me along worth the risk I'll spill the occasional word out about what you ate for breakfast? The Voices of Narat is the Archon of Secrets, not the Archon of Honesty or failed dealings. If you don't assume everyone already reports to him, you're not being careful enough. Tell me something about yourself.
If you insist. I'm a Scarlet Fury. That should raise some flags for you. It means that I'm good at killing, and more importantly, that I enjoy it. What I won't enjoy are the pleasures of funerary rites packed with weeping mourners. Someday I'll fall in battle, and then they'll roll me into a mass grave or heap me atop a shit-stained wagon. One more anonymous, knife-riddled piece of meat. Until then, I plan to take whatever I can from life and have a little fun along the way.
Tell me about your life before the chorus. Life? What life? As far as I'm concerned, I didn't exist before the chorus. There was some girl in a farm wearing my face, talking my voice, but she wasn't me. Sometimes she would sneak out at night, take a scythe, and have some fun with the livestock. Our shared interests began and ended there. When the Scarlet Chorus swept through my village on the long trek from the bastard city, that was when I finally woke up. I buried my old life, took red vengeance on anyone who'd wronged me, and found the freedom I could only dream was out there. What of your parents? My mother ran a successful farm. I worked it for a number of years before I found the chorus. She was a hard, bitter woman, acted like the world owed her something. She never talked about my father. I figured out a thing or two about him later on. He was a merchant from the Northern Empire who took a liking to her, and she him. He stayed around only long enough to get what he wanted. But never mind him. My mother never had what you call taste, so he couldn't have been terribly influential to me if he did stick around. Did you ever wish you could do things over and end up somewhere other than Kairos' army? As naive a question as I've ever heard, Kairos is everywhere. If you aren't in Overlord's army, you're being trampled by it. Of course, I could have labored in the family farm into my maturing years, married some dolt, and littered him away a nurse of squealing piglets. Having my body torn to pieces by smaller versions of me sounds like fun. Then one day I decided enough was enough. I'd slit my husband's throat over breakfast and then run to join the chorus anyway. The way saved me a lot of time. My way saved me a lot of time. First, Sue's back the feathers in her hair and shakes her head with a smile. You're a killer. Better stick with the chorus. Gain loyalty or gain fear. I think you could have given that life a chance. Let's gain loyalty. At least you understand. The chorus praises and rewards things inside me that I would never suppress in civilized company. Life's too short to repress every desire, right? Especially if I have anything to say about it. How did you get conscripted? How did I? I think you have the wrong idea about me. The chorus didn't take me as a sobbing maid. I strode into their camp and enlisted. Someone tossed me a dented blade. I lived through the initiation, spent a week butchering my neighbors, and moved on with my new kin. I didn't waste my time with goodbyes. My mother had long since died, and the rest of my family were louses. The girl I used to be, even she knew that she was worth more than all of them combined. What's the significance of your feathers? Insufficient reputation. Oh, I don't tell that story to anyone. You'll just have to butter me up before I get to the really intimate details. Enough questions about your past. Tell me about your time with the Scarlet
The
Chorus.
Scarlet Chorus is mostly for madmen and peasants with rusty daggers, but it's also a little niche of freedom that I never had. Once I survived training and met my Scarlet Fury sisters, I saw a different side of the Howling Mob.
Tell me about your training.
For new recruits shoved to the front lines, training means surviving the first battle. Anything beyond that is for the fighters who show potential, whether as blade dancers or arcane madmen. There's nothing in the world like getting put through the paces as a Scarlet Fury. Every day is a test of your commitment and passion. Failure means death. The first few weeks were the hardest, but also the most rewarding. I earned my name, picked up some quality weapons, and met my sisters.
Tell me about the Scarlet Furies.
The elite fighters of the Scarlet Chorus. Your typical Horde recruit fights with a rusty spoon and a chip on his shoulder, but the Scarlet Furies are, well, different. We focus our madness. We coordinate, we kill, we dance. It's like art. Imagine a sculpture that twisted in weird, beautiful angles, and then gutted you too fast for you to realize what was happening.
Sounds wonderful. Average loyalty. Do you even hear yourself when you talk? Gain average fear.
It is, as I remind myself all the time. The most important day of my life was when the voices of Nerat recognized my potential and sent me to Scarlet Fury training.
Alright, I'm level 1 loyalty. You earned your name. If you think a simple farmer from Tears would name her child Verse, I suggest you visit my old village. Most of them were walking around with surnames like Barrel or Fish. Not the most creative bunch. She smirks and shakes her head. The chorus takes your name away. Whoever you were before, you aren't that person anymore. Then you earn back a name through great deeds, usually murderous ones. That's why when you see choirmen walking around with names like Stink Mouse and Face Fist, there's probably a good reason for it. The voices of Nerat gave me this name. When the Scarlet Chorus runs howling into battle, he doesn't hear war, he hears a symphony. And when I fight with a blade or bow, he told me that my music stands out louder than anyone else's. It contains too many pages, too many parts to be easily defined. When you least suspect it, the Archon of Secrets can be downright charming. What's your real name? Verse. Gain average fear. That question isn't worthy of either of us, dear, but I'll entertain you out of pity. You already know about my real name. It's Verse. Are you looking for whether arbitrary collection of letters and sounds my mother thought was appropriate when she didn't even know me? You're out of luck. I buried the name long ago. Long by my standards, anyway. Tell me about your weapon skills. When I was a kid, it didn't take me long to realize I was natural. I could pick up a rusty kitchen knife and skewer a rat from across the room. The Scarlet Chorus gave me opportunities to further educate myself. My sisters were always a bit surprised by how quickly I took to different fighting styles. She frowns for a moment, and then it shakes off whatever she wanted to say. Back to my questions about the Scarlet Chorus.
What do you need to know?
You hesitated when you brought up your fighting styles. Why? Insufficient reputation. As if that's in your business. If I want to say something, you would have heard it. Don't assume I'm holding back. You fight for me, do you not? Tell me. Gain average loyalty. I suppose that's true. And like any competent gang boss, you want to know if your second in command is losing her nerve. Seems fair enough. I mentioned before that I'm good at picking up different weapons and fighting techniques. Truth is, I'm better than good. I could flay a man so cleanly that I'd leave a single strip of skin behind. He wouldn't even need to be tied down. That was one of the first things I discovered about myself after joining the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat recognized it in me as well, which is why he singled me out for the Scarlet Fury training. Have you tried that flailing trick before? Go on. My sisters were masters of their fighting forms, but since they died, my style has changed, almost like Like I can kill as they did. I could pick up a bow, a lance, anything really. I could tear someone to pieces with a weapon I only watched my sisters used. I don't know what it could mean. Maybe that worries me. Who are your sisters? Who were they would be more appropriate. 3 whispers, red geyser, seeking sheath. Best fighters I've ever met. There wasn't a foe we couldn't take down together. Our fighting styles complemented so perfectly we divided up the killing work like bards singing a song. At least we used to. She presents a solemn salute. Tell me about 3 whispers. She was calm as the surface of a pond and light on her feet. More than one foe tripped and fell upon their blade due to the whisper's crafty footwork. First lets her gaze slip away from you as a fleeting moment of sorrow steals her attention. Tell me about Red Geyser. A woman siege breaker. She would launch herself at her foes like a battering ram. Not even a disfavored phalanx could have withstand that dumb suicidal wrench. Kairos' eyes. But she wasn't. But she was something to behold. First slams her fist into her palm. Tell me about Seeking Sheath. That girl could pass a spear through 12 rings from the far side of battle. Kairos help any foes who approached her, marching single file. She made a game of splitting as many soldiers as possible on the same javelin. What happened to them? We were scouting around Vendrian's Well during the siege when we only suspected the guard of organizing in secret. My sisters and I came upon a group of them. Or Kairos knows. Maybe they found us. No one said anything. We drew iron and bronze. That was when everything went wrong. I was supposed to take point and occupy the guard with a dance of blade work. Something disorienting while my sisters picked their marks. I hesitated. I lost my nerve. Instead of rushing the Oathbreakers, I froze with my weapon drawn. My sisters fought on without me, but they were off balance. Like whatever I had was catching. They died. I lived. My sisters were relying on me to lead the dance, and I failed them. It's understandable. Caution stayed your hand. Gain fear. Your actions were inexcusable for a fighter of your station. Gain loyalty. You're absolutely right. If you had witnessed the same in one of my sisters, I might even killed her for endangering the rest of us. Good thing for me that they didn't get the chance. She chuckles. There's no humor in it. Hesitation is a rot. It's unbecoming for any chorus member and unheard of in a Scarlet Fury. I would cut it from my body and cauterize the wound if only I knew the source. She grimaces once more and turns inward, contemplating. Any idea why you lost your nerve in battle? I wish I had an explanation. For the first time I lost the dance. The song of murder drew silent. Instead, there was only rigid, organized control. I have more questions about your sisters. Tell me more questions about Scarlet Chorus.
What do you need to know?
Who are the Scarlet Chorus's leaders? Well, the voices of Nurat is the spider at the center of the web. He acts like the army belongs to him, and he only lends it to Kairos because it suits his purposes, both of which are true. The rest are all offshoots of the voices, like the fifth eye. Once you get down to the rank and file, the Scarlet Chorus organize around a motley bunch of gang bosses who call the shots. What do you want to know? Tell me more about the voices of Nurat. He's a madman, but never stopped. But that never stopped me from following his orders. Even in a legion as cutthroat as the Chorus, you know better than to get on the voice's bad side. People who cross him, or just people he meets, don't tend to survive the experience. Even if he seems disorganized or lost, it's because he's changing one of the responsibilities, or one of the personalities he's devoured. It's because he's channeling one of the personalities he's devoured over the years. His mannerisms shift over to someone else, who's probably long since dead. Better to die than become part of the voices. Through powers you can't begin to understand, the voices of Nurat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from this ability, beyond his apparent madness, is anyone's guess. You know better than to ask him directly about it. What makes the voices of Nerat so powerful? He's the Archon of Secrets, and he didn't earn that title lightly. People say he knows more than every sage in Tears combined, and that he can think of 1,000 steps ahead of the other Archons. It wouldn't be putting it lightly to say that he's never alone under that disapproving helmet of his. If you make secrets your business, I guess having people constantly whisper in your ear is a good thing. I usually want people to shut up, but to each their own. Tell me about the fifth eye. A walking nightmare, that one. I couldn't begin to guess who lives under that armor and speaks with that reedy voice, but I'll tell you what I know. When the world is built on secrets, it pays to have a few extra eyes. The voices of Nerat has eyes in abundance. That helps. Some that he keeps close and others that he sends out in the wilderness. Whoever the fifth eye was before he came into the Archon service, now he's just a half-mad, gibbering speech hole, a bodily function. In other words, an eye. Wait, Nerat's eyes are people? Maybe they used to be people. Whatever they were, they're eyes now. Folks like to whisper that the voices of Nerat takes his servants and cuts out all the extra parts they don't need. She makes a quick snipping gesture with their fingers. How many eyes does the Archon of Secrets have? The number keeps changing, either because it grows or because rumors don't mean shit. 3, 7, 19, some even say that all of us are eyes and we don't even know it. She shakes her head in thoughtful disapproval. Back to my other questions. Tell me about the gang bosses. A boss is anyone who can rally enough support to kill the previous boss. They cling to command until someone gets wise and stabs in the back. Tipcap leads the filthy lamb. Lox leads the rusted harps. Sharp used to lead the Bone Boys. I couldn't say where he ended up after they broke his legs. Waterwheel orders around the hairy hunters. Halls for shit leads the lazy Mulkins. Then Scurvy Queen, Finger Food, and Wild Gash collectively lead the ladies of the perpetual strangulation. Funny. You led a gang? Don't act so surprised. I can crack a whip better than any of those daisies at the disfavored labor camps. But I was never interested in the power struggle of those grunts and scabs in the middle. I wanted to stand on the top like an apex predator. Here I am. When I got tired of a gang, I disbanded and let the other bosses fight over the new recruits. That much amused me, at least. Some of my old mates are still alive and hanging around wherever they ended up. Back to questions. Tell me about something else.
What do you need to know?
I have thoughts about your combat
Do you
abilities.
now? Call me intrigued. You already know that I memorized the moves of my Scarlet Fury sisters. If it seems like a total mystery to me, I don't know how you could have arrived at any conclusions, but I'm open to ideas.
I think I'll wait till subterfuge is higher. How is it you picked up your fallen sister's weapon skills? That's been on my mind for some time, and I still don't have an explanation that fits. I have a few ideas, but Scarlet Fury share sort of a link. It's how we coordinate our dance in the heat of battle. We don't pass messages or anything like that, but our emotions and intentions sync up without words. She starts worrying one of her knives. After a moment, she sighs and slaps the blade against the back of the sheath. Go on. It's one thing I always knew was I felt this connection more keenly than my sisters did. I could pick up nuances that they missed, and I could feel them further away. When my sisters died, I felt each of them getting yanked from my brain like someone pulling snails from a garden, but some of the slime residue was still there. Does that make any sense? Take comfort in that. Your sisters live on in you. You should exploit this skill to its fullest potential. Skill, I'm not sure I'd call it that. There's something parasitic about it, but I take your point. There's an advantage to this thing that I'm experiencing. I'm not above using it against our foes. What are your thoughts on the disfavored? There's a lot of conversation with this person. A warren of self-entitled children so wound up in the delusion of honor that they're likely to hang themselves by their own high standards. I wish they had stayed in the Northern Empire where they belonged. Then we could get some real work done in tears. What do you think of their leader, Graven Ash? I've seen enough of that high-minded bracker to know that he's all duty, nothing but a charismatic, broad-shouldered scarecrow. He calls himself the Archon of War, though by the way he stalls his forces, waiting for a better strategy to present itself, you'd think he's afraid of battle. You would think that someone more deserving would take Ash's mantle from him, but the disfavored have this cult personality built around their great general. In their eyes, he could do no wrong. What about Ash's connection to his troops? Graven Ash protects. His soldiers keep harping on those words like they mean something. I don't deny that a disfavored can take a few extra lumps in the battle, but that only speaks to their thick-headedness. If anything, it's only true because his soldiers place so much trust in it. I've seen the power of suggestion do stranger things to people. Stranger than heal wounds, battlefield wounds? I don't think so. Suit yourself. I'm just putting it out there. I didn't see you coming up with any great explanation for a soldier who bounces back from a killing wound. Who do you see take Ash's place? I would rather let the disfavored sort it out amongst themselves. Graven Ash is this aging figurehead of what should be constantly changing role. The right soldier needs to grow a pair and kill the old man. Kick his cane out from under him. Remind the Legion what strength looks like. The voices of Narat changes. He's a multifaceted gem. Scarlet Chorus is a reflection of that beauty. If someone could rise up and strike down the voices, any of us would follow them in a heartbeat. I suppose you have a better idea how to handle the disfavored forces? Of course I do. First, I stopped babying the troops. Pain is a lesson best learned early. I'd conscript from the locals to bolster the front lines, because why waste your lead on the vanguard? Then I'd leave any misplaced ethics back in the Northern Empire. They're not helping Kairos' campaign anyway, so fuck them. Excellent. You would make them more like the Scarlet Chorus, gain average loyalty. You take away everything that makes them strong. Alright, got an achievement called Building a Reputation. Tier 3. Reputation ability. Gain enough reputation to unlock a new ability. Open the Reputation UI pressing R. See an ability on your screen. Most factions have ability your character can acquire as you build a reputation. In order to build a reputation, you must favor or wrath of the faction reputation abilities are granted in other party members. Okay. What would be wrong? So what could be so wrong? The chorus is acceptable for itself in ways that disfavored aren't. Or weak die, the strongest fight to keep their rank. The disfavored promote their waning bloodline and discipline any soldier with the audacity to show teeth. Though they'd never admit it, the disfavored need the chorus to show them the way. Back to my questions about the disfavored. Do you think the disfavored have a chance to succeed in tiers? Speaking as one of the exceptions, most of the tiersmen are pushovers. The people of Stalwart seem capable enough, though I have my doubts. You might call them disfavored's best challenge. What are your thoughts on their battle strategies? They really got something with that phalanx maneuver, a formation built on holding still, moving forward slowly, and hoping that no one slips in the mud. At best, the disfavored are tired of using the same tactic over and over again. At worst, the enemy knows what to expect out of them. Scarlet Furies are dancers. We hear music in the battle and organize ourselves into the works of killing art. Every fight is as hot and passionate as the last, with no room for stale routine. Ask about something else. What do you think of those who defy Kairos' authority? The tiersmen can either fight or submit to Kairos' peace, and only one of those options captures my interest. I suppose I appreciate when they go down fighting. If they did otherwise, I would need to find another excuse to flay them. They need to understand whether we unify the tiers under the shared banner or at the bottom of a mass grave makes little difference to you, me, or Kairos. That's an interesting view of conquest. It's a pragmatic one anyway. The Scarlet Chorus caught on to the idea at the beginning of the campaign. If no one objects that we're here to carve a bloody path for gain and amusement, then by all accounts that is our purpose. Besides, unification is such a vague concept that Kairos allows the disfavored and the chorus to interpret it as they will. The Overlord is concerned with the results. I'm happy to focus on the details, especially if that means cutting off the farmer's leg while his family watches their land burn. She smiles at a pleasing memory. No shame in taking pleasure in your work. Now I wonder how much loyalty is worth investing, or should I start investing in fear? I'll just keep investing in loyalty until I learn otherwise. No shame in taking pleasure in your work. No, there isn't. Fatebinder, I suspect we're going to make something great together. A line of body stretching as far as the old walls. It's going to be beautiful. She looks at you with renewed interest. Did you fight at any notable battles? I spent some time in Azure towards the end of the war. Beastmen ripped my unit apart. We thought they might be working under Karin's orders, but we never found out for sure. Karin's that crazy guy that went into stone. Let's change the subject. You learned a thing or two about the fighting style of the Scarlet Chorus. Care to duel?
That would be an understatement, and I thought you'd never ask. Since you're obviously at a huge disadvantage, I'll let you pick our weapon of choice.
First loyalty 2. On second thought, let's fight another time. I want to survive this day.
Feel free to draw iron or bronze anytime. I'll be ready.
We'll talk again later. Alright, reputation ability unlocked. Okay, so yeah, you need to unlock this tier. Looks like I can gain up to another point, another ability with her, I guess. You need a reputation change of major strength to unlock this tier. Need a reputation change of major strength. What does that mean? Well, maybe not. It doesn't look like there's another ability over here. Okay. So yeah, so this one has ability over here by tier 5. Reputation change of average strength to unlock this tier. Minor strength. Oh, so it's like how strong is the reputation change? Major, minor, or average to get past it. So here we need a very major strength one. It's interesting we can gain reputation with the faction, Scarlet Chorus, and Voices of Nurat. And Ashen Grave. Alright. Let's see. Where did that go? Death from above. Already had that. Combo abilities. Yes, I think Death from Above is the new one, right? Yeah. So Death from Above is a combo ability. Let's see what it does. Once per rest. Launch verse into the air, allowing her to unleash a series of well-aimed arrows into the target from above. Each of these arrows strikes true and has armor penetration. Alright. Let's save the game once again since I don't want to read all that crap again. And it's already been 30 minutes. Let me try fighting her and see what that does. See how
At your
badly we mess
service,
each other
Faith.
up.
What do you need? That would be an
Let's try
understatement.
doing
Exotic.
knives.
Good choice.
Okay, so I don't actually fight it. Gains 5 dual wield ranks. Versus slashes and parries with unresisted ferocity. At times, because it's difficult to follow her movements. After taking more than a few cuts, you learn to relax your eyes and better follow the subtle motion of her dance. Nice. So she just kind of trains you up. Alright. Well, I think that's a good stopping point for the episode. It's been 30 minutes. So we'll see you next time on Tyranny.